Something massive is unfolding in West Africa right now. Nigeria has just deployed nearly 200 troops, not to defend its borders, not to protect its own citizens, but to a foreign land dangerously close to the territories of the AES alliance. That's the same AES bloc made up of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, the three countries that exited ECOWAS earlier this year and have since declared themselves sovereign, independent, and ready to defend that independence with force. At the same time, a political earthquake is shaking the ECOWAS foundation, as Ghana's newly elected president, John Mahama, is reportedly in deep consultation with Sahel leaders, exploring the possibility of leading Ghana out of ECOWAS entirely. Let that sink in for a moment. The largest Anglophone democracy in West Africa. The nation once considered ECOWAS's most stable member, now considering a full withdrawal to possibly join the rising Sahel alliance. And on the other side, Nigeria, ECOWAS's military and economic backbone, is quietly shifting troops toward the A.E.S zone under the guise of peacekeeping. But the timing, the location, the silence, it all suggests something far more serious than a routine mission. These aren't isolated moves. They are strategic maneuvers in a much bigger regional chessboard. And now Ghana, once seen as a pillar of democratic stability, might be switching sides. This isn't just another news headline. This could redraw the political map of West Africa, unravel decades of foreign-controlled cooperation, and mark the beginning of a new, African-led power structure on the continent. So before you scroll away or switch to the next video, stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll understand why this matters. Not just for politicians, but for every African watching this right now. What's happening in Niger, Nigeria, and Ghana could define whether Africa rises on its own terms or gets torn apart by another generation of foreign-backed conflict. This is the African Scoop, and this is the moment where the continent either fractures or awakens. Nearly 200 Nigerian troops were quietly deployed to the Gambia, under what government officials are calling a peacekeeping operation. But beneath that label lies a far more complicated and suspicious reality. The deployment may seem routine on paper, but when you look at the timing, the location, and the geopolitical context, it paints a different picture entirely. Let's connect the dots. The Gambia borders Senegal. Senegal is a key ECOWAS ally, and together they sit right on the western edge of the Sahel region, just a few hundred kilometers from AES territory. Now remember, the AES bloc, made up of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, has officially broken away from ECOWAS. They've declared themselves a sovereign military alliance, vowed to defend each other from foreign intervention, and even expelled all Western troops from their soil. So ask yourself, why would Nigeria, a country battling internal terrorism, inflation, food shortages, and civil unrest, send hundreds of troops away from its own collapsing north? Why now? And why here? Critics aren't buying the peacekeeping excuse. Even within Nigeria, not everyone is on board. A prominent Nigerian senator recently broke ranks and publicly condemned the move, calling it a reckless distraction from Nigeria's urgent domestic crises. He warned, "Our economy is in shambles, our people are hungry, our borders are broken, and instead of fixing Nigeria, we're sending soldiers into other people's business?" The backlash is growing. Nigerians are asking, whose war are we preparing for? In early 2025, something unprecedented happened. Three nations, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, once considered fragile states caught in cycles of coups and foreign dependency, came together to form a bold new alliance, the Alliance of Sahel States, or AES. And recently, they issued a direct, unapologetic warning to ECOWAS. Any military intervention in Niger will be treated as an act of war. No negotiations, no empty diplomacy, just a red line drawn clearly in the Sahel sand. This isn't political posturing. AES is not just a name. It's a functioning military coalition with teeth. These are three countries that have completely cut ties with ECOWAS and are now united under one mission: defend each other, build without begging, and reject every form of foreign control. Here's what they've already done. Expelled U.S. and French forces from their bases, permanently. Formed a joint defense pact. One army, one command, one resistance. And most shockingly, they've secured a nuclear energy deal with Russia. Yes, you heard that right. In January 2025, something many thought impossible became reality. John Dramani Mahama, the former president, returned to power after a sweeping victory in Ghana's December 2024 election, and just weeks into his new term, he's already shaking the entire foundation of West Africa's political order. Behind closed doors, President Mahama has reportedly held private meetings with key leaders of the AES bloc, including Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traoré, Mali's Assimi Goïta, and Niger's General Abdourahamane Tchiani. And when pressed by journalists on whether Ghana is preparing to exit ECOWAS, he simply smiled and said, "Something big is coming, and Africans will be happy." That one sentence has sent shockwaves across the region, because if Ghana, one of ECOWAS's most respected and economically stable nations, leaves the bloc, it would mark the beginning of a political landslide. Let's be clear. Ghana is ECOWAS's crown jewel. It's a top trading hub, a diplomatic anchor, a cultural beacon, because it's not just Ghana. Chad has expressed interest. Togo is reportedly watching closely. This isn't just about membership in a bloc. It's about who Africa listens to. If Mahama pulls Ghana out of ECOWAS and joins the AES bloc, it would collapse the old framework of Western-guided diplomacy and usher in a new era where African leaders align on sovereignty, energy independence, and mutual defense, without the old colonial filters. The question is no longer, will Mahama do it? The question now is, can ECOWAS survive if he does? Across the continent, a quiet storm is building.